Hey, in this video I'm going to show you how to upload to an S3 bucket with Node.js. It's going to be a we're going to set up the S3 bucket completely. We're going to upload a file to it. Set up all the permissions and all the policies, and then upload a file to it. I just want to say this is actually an update video, so I'll include this video here. It was the previous video. Or people have also told me that I was doing a lot of jumping in the video, so I would jump around multiple pages that I would have open. It's very difficult for me to realize this in the moment when I'm doing it, because it's my own computer, so I'm very quick with navigating through windows and stuff, so I don't realize I'm doing it. Anyways, I'm trying to get better at fixing not doing this. So I'm actually going to re-update this video. I'm going to be more clear on which window I am on, and I'm going to kind of work off that. So if you take a look at my screen, this is the video I'm talking about. I'll include it in the description below. In the video, I also reference a number of other videos that can also help with this entire process. I'll just include those in the description. So I should mention that everything that I have open, I'm gonna put. It's gonna be the first couple links in the description, starting with this Medium post, which is gonna show us how to actually do the file upload. So the Node.js file upload using Busboy. You're gonna have to have this. I'm gonna include this Python AWS S3. This is essentially a demo walkthrough that I created way back when of how to set up an S3 bucket. Just all screenshots. So if you don't want to follow the video, this is another option. And the last is the AWS dashboard. You'll need two windows. One's called the IAM service, so it's under services IAM. That's for the users who can access the bucket. The other one is the actual S3 bucket. Those are the four internet tabs you'll need open. You'll need a text editor. So I'm going to use Atom for this. And the other thing is you'll need a terminal window. I'll also include a link to the Near app, which is the starting point of what it just allows you to compile. I know it works. It's Node code that works. Super easy to set up. So I'll actually include that in the description below too. And that's what we're going to have in our terminal. You have to do like an npm install. You have to add the AWS package, things like that. And I'll walk you through all this, and I'll try to be as clear as possible on which tab I'm actually on. First thing we're going to do is look. This is the Near code. It just uses Easy API as a backend. We don't need to have a backend because we're just doing the file upload. We just need the code, the Node code to work. If you look here, this is the actual Near GitHub page. It's in the description. All you're going to do is hit the green button, hit copy to clipboard, and then open up your terminal window. I'll zoom in on mine. And I'm going to switch CD into my desktop, and then I'm going to do a git clone. Alright, I knew it already existed. I'm just going to remove it with the rm-rf near, which is going to remove it. I'll clear that. And I'm going to do a git clone and then the link again. And then I'm going to cd into my app, and I'm going to run npm install. It's going to install all the necessary packages, and so that'll take a little bit of time. Okay, so jumping back over to my internet browser, what we're actually going to first do now is we're going to actually set up the S3 bucket. So what you have to do is sign into your Amazon console. Once you're signed in, we're going to actually do this with two tabs, but first you're going to need to, I have them all in my history, but under storage you'll see S3. I'm going to open that up in a new tab. And the other one you're going to have to do is under security, it's IAM. And so I have tab number 1, which is the IAM, and tab number 2, which is the S3 bucket. Okay? So first thing you're going to do is hit create bucket. You're going to give it a unique name. Example bucket name is just going to be my example. I'm going to hit next. I'm going to be in the US, in eastern part of the US. Hit next, and create the bucket. So here it is, example bucket name 123. That's all set up. Before I switch, I'm going to switch back over to the GitHub repo, with all the screenshots. So this one here. I'm just going to scroll down. So we create the bucket. I do a file upload just to show you how it works if you want to do it right from the dashboard. And then the next thing we do is set up the users. And so I'll show you how to do that now. I'm going to switch over to my IAM tab. So this is under services, IAM. You go to users, and you want to hit add user. And this is going to be test example user. This is just you have to give it some sort of name. I typically go one user per one S3 bucket. You can have it. What we're going to use for permissions is we're actually going to have it so the one user can act as any one of your S3 buckets. This can easily be changed. I'll show you where to do that. And the only thing you have to do is check off program access. And then you hit next, next, next. At this step, you're going to have to save this information here. So I'm going to now open up my text editor. I hope it opens. Okay. And I'm just going to copy the username and password. These are unique for me. Of course, I'll delete them before you see this video, so you'll have to have your own here. I'm just going to switch back over to this tab now that I've copied those down. I'm going to hit close. I got my test example user here. Sweet. My IAM user is set up from just a very high level. It has no. We have to add an inline policy, but we'll do that in a sec. I'm going to switch back over to the screenshots. It's just going to tell you to create a user. Next, we'll have to add a bucket policy. The bucket policy is used to say, what kind of permissions actions can be performed on the bucket via certain users or things like that. And we're just going to keep scrolling down. And as you can see, we have it here. I'm just going to copy and paste it into the S3 bucket here. So I'm switching back to the S3 page. You go to permissions, and then here are bucket policies. And we're just going to paste this in. So there's only two things we really have to change in here. Number one is we're going to change this because this isn't the resource we're referring to. We're referring to the current bucket we're in. So at the very top there's this ARN. You're just going to copy that and swap that in there. The other thing you have to switch is here, which is essentially the user that has access. And so I'm going to switch over to my IAM tab, and it's right here. So I'm going to copy that, hit back, and paste it here. So the actions that can a user on this can perform is it can list the elements in the bucket. It can get the bucket, can get things from the bucket, can put things in the bucket. So get and put. And with that, we're just gonna hit save, and it's saved. The next thing we have to do is change the CORS permissions, so the cross-origin reference permissions. I think the R stands for. I always forget that. And so I'm just going to switch over my GitHub screenshots here so I can see the actual. Just going to copy and switch back over to my S3 page and paste that in. And so here they are. Essentially, we're saying that people can get, post, put, and then the max length for per call is 3,000. Hit save. Okay. With that, our bucket is all set up. We now need to just set up the inline policy for the IAM user. So the policy is actually on this repo still. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch over there, copy it, and then we'll switch to the IAM tab. So scroll down, copy this right here, which is the permission for the IAM. Switch to the IAM tab, hit add inline policy, custom policy, select, we have to give it a name, and I'm just going to paste it in there. And so the permissions that we're going with here is you can list all the buckets with this user, you can put objects and get objects, and the resource is any bucket. Now if you want to specify a certain bucket, you would change this to be the ARN for that specific bucket, but I'm going to say this, this user can have access on it over any bucket of mine. I'm going to hit apply policy, and our user is all set up. So now we have our IAM user and the bucket all set up. So in this repo, just switching back over this tab, it gives you some code to run it in Python. That's not what we're interested in. We're going to do file upload with Node, so we're going to switch to a terminal to check on the npm install. Okay, so it's installed now. And we can do an npm run start dev, which would actually start on a specific port. But we can't do that yet because we actually can't find the config file here. So we have to do one thing. We have to actually open up our text editor. I'm just going to copy these just in case I lose them. And we're going to open up our code in the text editor. Add to this window. Okay. So we have this now open. What we're going to do is change this to say config.js, and now it will compile properly. We don't actually have anything with the Easy API, so that's fine, but just change this to be our AWS credentials. So I am user, and it's called I am secret. And this will allow us to just reference it. So if you change your user, your key and your secret for the IAM user, you can just change it in the one spot. And that's how we'll do this. I'm going to close this window now that I've saved it. And the next step is I'm going to go into the API and delete everything. The reason why I'm going to delete everything is just because this isn't the point of the application. We're just trying to do the file upload. So I'm going to save that. So I still have the post and the get. I'm actually going to delete the get. And if you didn't see where I was, I am now on server routes API messages. And I'm going to hit up with this and delete the EC API library because we don't actually use it. Okay, so that is, everything is kind of set up for running our node code. So let's see if that works. I'm going to switch over to the terminal. Let's do it. And now we're going to do the npm run start dev. Since we have port 2018, and with this it actually has to compile the webpack, so it doesn't work. There it is. Okay, so if you go to Google Chrome again, or any internet browser, go to 2018. Perfect. We see we know it's now running. We're good on that front. So the next thing we're going to get into is the actual file upload for Node.js. And then after that we'll do the uploading to a bucket. So if you go to here, this is uploading files to Node.js, and what we use is busboy. So we'll have to do a couple of installs here. So this is the medium post, it's in the description. I'm just going to switch over to the terminal and run all three of these commands. So I just did a command C to kill it, and then we'll just copy all three of these. Okay, everything's been installed now. Switching back to the medium post, it's going to give you a couple instructions on how to set up busby in your Express. So these are two lines I have to go to the server JS. I'm going to just be switching back and forth between the medium post and my text editor. So I'm on the text editor. I close this under server. I can close this. There's server.js, and what I have to do here is add some space, and I'm going to import my two busboy libraries. Switch back to medium. It tells me to add this below these two lines. So switching to my text editor, scroll down here, add this below those two lines, switch back to the medium post, switch back here, and it says add this too. Okay, and so that's everything. And then it says next you'll have to create the file upload on the API route. Well, we're going to do this on the messages route, or we'll just rename it to be called file.js, which is fine. And we'll actually copy all this so we don't. Switching back to the text editor, so instead of messages here, we'll just delete this file. I think I deleted too much. I think that was API there though. Add my folder back API, and then this will be called file.js. I'm on file.js and I just paste everything in here. So this is supposed to handle the file upload. So it imports the busboy library. It's a post request on the API upload. I'm passing a parameter element1 with some sort of text value, and then element 2 is the actual file, and we'll print out something like this. Let's just see that. So we're going to switch to the terminal, do an npm run start dev. I'm just going to switch to Chrome. I just want to see if, okay, so it says no headers, it's a post request. So I'm going to do Postman. I've actually been having a few bugs with Postman recently, so if I switch REST clients, forgive me. So I'm just going to look at the terminal, it's all compiled, so it's ready. I'm just going to close this. And so it's telling me that if I go to http:/localhost/2018/API/upload, it's a post request. Cut that. I have no headers. The body here is empty. And with that, it tells me I'm going to put in element 1 and element 2, which is the file. So I'm just going to scroll down. Headers are empty, and then element 1, and it's a form data. So element 1 is example text, and element 2 is going to be the actual file. And so the important thing, you can switch this here under the drop down to file. My desktop, I probably have a screenshot of something. Now I do. And I'm going to hit send. So as you can see, the file upload worked. It has the file and the buffer. There was no response on the actual endpoint. We never did a res.send, which would give you a response, and this would return something. So I just did the command C to stop it. And I'm right now looking at my terminal, by the way. So with that, we have the file upload set up. Next, we're going to have to do the AWS upload to the bucket, and I'll show you how to do that. I'm just going to switch back to the Medium article. So it tells us we're going to have to do add the AWS Sdk. So I'm just going to copy that, switch to the terminal, and paste it in there and do an npm install aws-sdk-save. And I'm going to switch back to the Medium article as this installs. And so it's going to tell me I have to upload. I'm going to add this to the top. So this will be essentially, this is a function that uploads to S3. And right now we're doing a console log. We're going to change that to be an upload to S3. Our bucket name will be hard coded, but these two are coming from the config. I mean, we can put the bucket name in the config as well. So let's just check on the install on the terminal. It's done. So we're going to copy this now. Switch to the text editor. I already have all this. Replace the busboy on the top. Make sure you don't have two of them. Okay, now we have this function here called busboy. We're going to import the config file just because it's already hard-coded. So we're going to do a const config. And then we're just going to mock the path. So back 1, back 2, back 3. And then into the config folder, and then it's config.js. And then opening the config file, I can now say im secret, so it'd be config.im user and config.im secret. My bucket name is on my S3 dashboard. I don't actually remember exactly what it was. So I'm going to open up, switch to the S3 tab, and here is my bucket name. I can't actually, it's in the URL as well. I'm going to paste my bucket name back onto this file.js. And the last thing I want to do is actually add this upload. So this again won't return anything because there's no return, but okay, so that should technically all be set up. Switch to our terminal, do an npm run start dev, and we're in a second we're going to switch back to Postman. We're going to try to do that same request. We don't have to actually change anything. Switching to Postman. I know I didn't mention this, but you can just download Postman from the internet. I'm going to hit send. It's not, this will never respond, but if we take a look at our console, so if we look at our console, the first console log was the same file output, which was the one we had before. So we know something's going in, and then here is the actual code being run for the upload to S3. So this was, I'm just going to switch to my text editor. As you can see, it says success, and then print out the data. Well, the data response was this: the bucket name, the key, and the exact path to it. So if I hit quit here, sorry, I did a Control-C or Command-C, I should see this on the S3 bucket. So if I switch, I'm in Chrome now, I'm on my S3 tab. If I head to Overview and do a refresh, I should see the file. It's right there. It has a size, so I assume it's the actual image. We can always check that. Download. Yeah, it's a screenshot of my screen as I was doing this. And so that's successful. Now, you might be asking, how do you do this with a folder? Well, the thing is, with a folder, all you have to do is change the key. So right now it's just the file name. This is a syntax for concat, so this would be folder name 1 /. By the way, this is just the better way to do the following syntax. Right? These two are equal to each other. But so I'm just going to do it in the proper way. These are backticks. And so if I do this again, I'm switching to my terminal, running to an npm run start dev. I'm going to switch to my Postman. Actually, I need to know when this is done. Okay, it's ready. Switching to my Postman, I'm going to do hit send again. It will never respond with anything. And so there, it's done. It took a second. And now, as you can see, if I cancel that, I switch to my Chrome browser, and I'm on my S3 tab. I hit this little refresh button. It creates a folder, and inside the folder is that screenshot. So that's how you do a folder on AWS S3. So that's kind of everything I'm going to cover today. Hopefully I didn't do too much switching between windows. This video has been about AWS and S3. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. I put a ton of links in the comments below. If you like it, please star this repo. Please give that Medium post a clap. So give it a clap. Thanks for watching.